ready.
Welcome to another episode of Buff in the Rough. Today we'll hear from Jeff Stacy about two outlaws that are sitting at the top of the current reproducers list, his recipe for success in the breeding pen, and a whole lot more. Help me welcome Jeff Stacy back to the program. Well, hey Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. Hope you are.
Well, I am. I appreciate you asking. I thought about you the other day because the UKC top reproducers list came out for 2025 as an updated version, and I'm going to tell you the truth, Jeff, I hadn't looked at it in a while, and when I looked at it, I was not surprised when I saw a familiar name in number one for the top current reproducing male with your Wildman dog, but I didn't realize it. But also on the other side, the top current reproducing female tied up there at number one was your Tipper dog. And I thought, man, I need to pick up with Jeff anyway because we were going over the history of Outlaw Kennels. We never got to really the current stuff. We had done a lot of the history part of it. And then when I saw that you've got not only the number one top current male, but also the number one top current female, I thought, what better time to catch back up with Jeff than now and talk about some of these hounds and kind of where he is right now. And so that's why I was hollering at you, and I'm so thankful that you're taking the time to kind of catch us up and kind of pick back up where we left off. So, Jeff, I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you just kind of pick up where we left off.
Well, thank you so much, Sam, for the opportunity. I'm pretty proud of them two dogs, and actually all the dogs that Dad kind of guided me through all the years. A lot of this breeding was, he was behind so much of it and knew what he was doing. But just to touch a little bit on the two hounds, Wildman and Tipper, both of them, fortunately, last year in 2024, got into the NHB Hall of Fame. So I'm very proud to have both of them dogs in NHBA Hall of Fame and sitting amongst the top. I know that don't last forever. Both dogs just passed on now. I lost Wildman in November 2024, and there's not many out there that hasn't been finished. So, he won't stay on top, neither will her, because she passed on too. But anyway, we'll get into that a little later. Where I'd like to start is, back with Tipper's dad, which was a dog that right around a year old, young male dog, 9 months old, something like that. Marco Cash gave to my daddy and me was Stacy's Mountain Outlaw Bold Stroke Hoss, which was, he was a line bred male, big red male, 15-inch male, and he went back to a bold stroke top and bottom, had some strong dogs that did some winning in his bloodline, and Dad and I was fortunate enough to get him and hunt him hard, and did quite a bit of winning with him. Hoss made a name for himself. He was very hard hunting and big hound. Actually, you had a grandson named Fred out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So he was about the size of Fred. Just big bone, big head, just a hound. Nice hound. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we did a lot. Then Hoss's health got weak at about 7 years old, which luckily Dad and Woody Crowder, another great friend that's passed on, made 2 or 3 crosses, which is where Tipper came from. And then, I had bred him to a female out of Shorty, which was Grand Champion Stacy's Mountain Outlaw Whitey, which is where Rose, that I won the Point Series race, the Eastern Division in 2016, was out of Hoss and Rose. Tipper, she won the junior race in, I want to say 2014, and but anyway, it come along like that. I've got all the jackets in there, but anyway, I'm shooting. Ever since all this chemo and stuff, and with all the health stuff, my brain don't work as fast. I know what I want to say, but getting it out, sometimes it's a little harder. But anyway, that's a little history on them dogs, and Hoss is strong, flowing through about everything we got, or the Bolstroke blood, and they had massive hunt, and just no end to the hunt, and they produced on down the line, like I said, mixing them with Shorty's blood and Wild Man's blood, and it's really set a great breeding program going down the road.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jeff, could you maybe just, for people that never got to hunt with Wild Man and Tipper, could you just talk about what kind of dogs they were in the field?
Sure. I'm going to start with Tipper. She was a little older than Wild Man. Tipper hunted just like Hoss. She wasn't as big. She was not a 14-inch female, ton of hunt, and had good foot. Tipper hunted hard, and she was such a thicket out. Sometimes you would think she could just make a rabbit. You know what I'm saying? And really, really good, really true with her mouth. Done an awesome job. And, I started, after we branded her, we started breeding her. I actually raised four litters of pups out of her with 3 different males. So 2 times with Wild Man, and then 2 other males. But anyway, she threw winners out of every cross I made. Mm-hmm. And very proud of that. And Wild Man is he's got a lot of old Brinko blood in him. His his father had 3 shots of Jack of all trade on the top side, and his Wild Man's daddy was named Triple Jacks, and he had Brinko blood top and bottom. Mm-hmm. And he hunted on the run. And I think that you got to hunt with him some. I think by the time you started coming to more of the hunts, I had about retired Wild Man. I retired him at 3.5, 4 years old. And we'll get into that a little bit. But anyway, he was a hunt. He would hunt a thicket, don't get me wrong. But he hunted on the run, and he was on the move all the time. And especially in his young age, as he got some age on him, he become even a better and better, I call, thicket dog, to which what Tipper was day one. You cut her loose, she's going straight in the thicket. You cut him loose, he may go 200 or 300 yards and then go in the thicket, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that was the difference in the styles. That's why I felt great hunt on both ends. Wild Man had, exceptional foot. She had great control. He had good control also. So, when Dad and I started breeding them 2, we knew we would get to hunt, and we should get to control and honest mouths, which we did. Everything we thought we would get, we got. Mm-hmm. And so, which, like I said, you got to experience a little bit of that.
I did, because I remember hunting with him very early on. I mean, it was the first couple hunts I ever went to, period. And the 2 dogs that were really banging heads in our region, one was Wild Man, and the other one was Kristen's dog, Blitz. And I got to see them go head to head maybe a time or 2, and I really liked both of those dogs.
I think you handled him in one.
I did. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. You had a lot of trust in me, I guess, Jeff. I don't know,
Well,
but that was a lot of fun. But I also got to gun hunt with him because
yeah.
you gun hunt all your stuff. I mean, they're not just
Oh, yeah.
trial dogs. You hunt what you and you try what you hunt.
Oh, yeah. And, when I retired him at 3.5, 4 years old, I didn't put him up and not run him. I mean, he gun hunted. I think you gun hunted with him maybe 2 to 3 years ago when he was past 10 years old. And, I gun hunted him right up until I didn't gun hunt him last year when he passed. He had kind of started losing hearing and losing some sight. So, I wouldn't take him with the pack or nothing. And, I'd just take him out and run him sometimes with a young dog or just pleasure run him. But yeah, I gun hunt everything. If they can't do both, they don't eat my feed. I mean, that's just the way Daddy and I agreed upon doing it. And, if you pull in the yard and go down the kennels, you won't hear me say, well, this is a gun dog and that's a child dog. And now some is better than others, you know that. And, but they got to be able to do both. And, at a pretty early age or they don't stay here. Gun hunting's very important. We got a lot of great friends that we hunt with. You're one of them, and several others that I just soon put on a good show at a gun hunt, or my dogs put on a good show, as I would in a field trial. That makes me feel just as proud.
Well, Jeff, these two dogs were big time winners. I mean, they're both Grand Hunt Beagle champions. I think they're both grand like show dogs too. Were granted out on the show, so they're pretty.
And now they're both in the Hall of Fame.
They're super credentialed. I mean, they have the papers that go with it. But to get on these lists, they had to produce some good dogs. Can you talk about what kind of dogs they reproduced? What traits did they pass on? Did they breed? Did they produce just as good as they are, or better than they are? Talk to us a little bit about what came out of.
Well, I'm going to start with Wild Man. More people know about Wild Man than do about Tipper, but, he was, out there a little more. But, we've made some super crosses with Wild Man. And again, like I said, I'm not in it for all the glory. I'll try to give it to where it's due. Dad and I, we discussed about every breeding. Well, we did every breeding that I ever made with Wild Man, except one, and that was the last one after Dad passed. But anyway, I had several people. Again, Mark Overcash did some studying on some crosses and had some bold stroke back in it with some Junie blood, and we bred Wild Man and his sassy dog, and actually out come Flame and Freck and Wild Son, several more of them in that litter. But Flame, everybody kind of knows she was the first dog in the UKC Hall of Fame, direct out of Wild Man. And Freck, kind of everybody knows Freck. He's 10 now, but he spent 8 years on the road. And anyway, he was the fourth dog to go into the UKC Hall of Fame, and that's litter mates, so that's pretty strong. And of course now both of them are also in NHPA Hall of Fame, so they are double Hall of Fame. That was out of Wild Man. And, I've had so many good ones. I've done a lot of winning with my out of Wild Man and Tipper. We've had my beauty dog, which I just bred to Alan Newby, Big Mac dog, and got a couple pups out here in the kennel I'm excited about. They're just now turning 4 months old. But anyway, she, in my opinion, has her daddy's speed and her mother, both of them's hunt. She's no into the hunt. And she's got great control. if anything, she runs more like Wildman than she does her mama, but she hunts just like her mama.
Mm-hmm.
We've done quite a bit of winning with her. She just turned 5. Her little mate, he won the NHBA show series 4 or 5 years ago. David Hughes owns him now. Him and Brett. And, Woody Crowder had a dog out of Wildman and Tipper, which was Hardcore Cash, that, Woody and my niece, Ashley Stacy, was partners on. Woody and Ashley both did winning on it until Woody passed away. And so they've thrown a lot of winners. And Emmy, Kristen's dog out of Wildman and Tipper, she's finished up in the top 4 in the NHBA. She's been up there winning quite a bit, and we got several dual grands out of them 2 crosses that we made. And I actually sold 2 of the dogs. They're about 5 now. I've actually tried to go buy them back since Tipper has passed on to see if I could, get them in and get titles on them and stuff. But I sold them to a gun hunter, and he will not sell them back to me. And so, that's okay. You don't think about that stuff until the dogs pass on. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, dang on, have I got any more direct blood out there? I got a lot of grandchildren and all that, but direct, there's not a handful of either dog that's not been finished. Mm-hmm. That's out there. And, you finished one out of Wildman and made me very proud. Very nice dog. Nelia always was my pick of the litter and have a place in my heart. And, made it even better that she made you so proud. And
I love that dog.
I had Roy Swafford. I had people out of West Virginia and everybody saying, you weren't even around, boy, that female Sam Buffscott's a nice one. And, that made me feel just as good if she was on my leash, you know what I'm saying? And she wasn't out of Tipper, but she was direct out of Wildman, That's what it's all about. I sit back and think sometimes, and I reviewed the Shorty story. Dad and I was the only 2 that ever handled Shorty in a hunt. Mm-hmm. Me more than Dad, but Dad did his share of winning too. Now, Dad probably handled Hoss more than I did and did as much winning. But when it comes to Wildman, I look back and I had several people handle Wildman. I mean, nieces, nephews, Kristen, Coy Jake, and several other people, and win with him. Mm-hmm. And so that makes me proud too, because it wasn't all on the end of my leash. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And but then I had people constantly coming up to me after I said he's done. In 2015, he won the East Region UKC point series at the time. And then, you had like a runoff series and all this. And he was up against Clint Haney's female. They had like the big 4 at that time. You had NHBA days, you had nationals, you had the Eliminator, and you had the World. And I was fortunate enough to go to Northern Indiana first leg. Well, the first leg of that NHBA series was at the Eliminator in Tennessee, which I got in the finals, finished second in the finals for Wildman. The second leg was in Northern Indiana, and in HBA days, I went out there, got in the finals of NHBA runoff, won some casts that weekend, and then the third stage was the Nationals, and I was blessed enough again to go in there and win in the Grands. All this was in the Grands, and locked the series up and won the overall UKC runoff with Lawman in 2015. So it comes down to the world, and I make it to the finals with Lawman in the world, and finished third that day. He did a great job. Caught a bad break. He jumped a small rabbit. Seen it. He could not keep it running. Took a minus. Time I got him in with the other dogs where they're scoring a line, and of course he's not eligible. But he was coming back, and very proud of him. So at the end of that hunt, I looked at Dad and I said, "He's done." And everybody was kind of in shock. "What do you mean he's done?" I said, "He has nothing else to prove. It's time to see if I can reproduce him." You know what I'm saying? And I had people for the next 2 or 3 years, "Man, well, you're crazy. You need to bring him back." But there wasn't no Hall of Fame for UKC and all that then. So in my mind, there was no reason to bring him back. Take him out while he was on top and try to reproduce him. And as I said earlier, if you look at some of the breedings with Mark's female, with Tipper, and some of these others, I reproduced better than him, or he reproduced better than him. There he's got Freck, he's got Flame, double Hall of Fame, he's got several dual grands, not counting all the other stuff that he produces. One, Alan Newby had a dog, granted out. You won with him. You won with your dog out of him, and several others have, And so, to the plan that I had, just being me, and Dad bought into it, and it worked. But then I sit back and think, well, I hurt him by putting him up, but I didn't know they was going to come up with all this stuff,
Well, I tell you, he's left his mark for sure. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about is Freck. So Freck's 10 years old. I'm assuming you still use him stud wise. Could you kind of tell us a little bit about him and kind of where you are today with Freck, and maybe some pups out of him?
Yeah, when I started out with Freck and Flame, actually, I think they both won their first cast at their first hunt they went to. Dad was with me on the cast. They wasn't but 6 months old, and he watched him that morning, and he was a pup, and he caught a break his way, and I won the cast, and Dad said, he reminds me a lot of Shorty. And Freck was a lot like Shorty. Very tight. Very tight-mouthed dog. Hunt all day, run for the front. He run just like Wildman. Flame, she would run the front. To me, she run a better track at the young age. She was more briar patch. Seems like females click it a little faster than males, I think. And she did. But anyway, Freck was a little bit of a gambler, which was like Wildman. He's going to do what he can do to lead the pack. But anyway, Dad told me that day, he said, "Son, if you put the time in this dog, he's going to make a nice one." I said, "Okay." I said, we'll see. And, again, he's been another dog that's been handled by, mostly by me. Debbie ran him. I was very proud when her and him won the point series in 2019, watching him do it. And a lot of times he beat me. I'll never forget in Michigan, up there with Roy Schwaffert, Nate Butler, all good friends of mine, at a big hunt. I'm hunting a female out of Wildman, and I go out and win a pretty tough cast and come in and decent score, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm sitting pretty good. But guess what? When I walk in the door, Freck's sitting there, high scoring dog. And then on Sunday we go head to head, and Greg takes the steer up his head, and he ends up beating me. So anyway, we started breeding him, but Fred made the final 4 in the world twice. Thanks to Alan Newby for handling him while I was down under the weather a little bit, and finished 4th in the world with him when he was 7 years old, going on 8, and that's when I retired him. That was it. And I've had a lot of big runs. I finished. Fred's been in the top 10 in the Eliminator 3 times. Him and Flame there for a couple of years, that they was in the top 5, 10 of the Eliminator about every year, and he won multiple state hunts. 2019, he won the point series. Flame won it in 18. So, but anyway, we've started just gun hunting Fred since he's been retired, and I've started breeding him more. I've got 3 litters out of him. Coy Jarrett made his Hoss dog the first champion out of him. But as age and you watch dogs settle down, Frank became just like Wildman. He became, I think for a male dog, he can jump as many rabbits as anybody. Mm-hmm. And, from the time he was 5 on, I think what they did in their early ages, like I said, they'd go 300 yards before they go in a thicket. And sometimes, somebody else would get the jump on you. But they would always try to make it up with speed or scoring a line by themselves. Frank was a dog that never, ever took minuses. And I'll never forget listening to the play-by-play live at the World when Newby was running him. And Frank gets first strike. I hear, Josh Ware say, there goes the rabbit. And I'm smiling. I'm like, yeah, boy. And he did all that frost, and he couldn't run it. He took 100 minus. Well, it took me hours to figure out when I ever took 100 minus from him, And but it's circumstances. Dogs are dogs.
Sure.
And we are proud of him. I've got a cross here I made out of with Greg Baker, another good club member of ours. 30-06 female, and it's got some Shenango in it. The female did, and I've got 4. We've got 4 young dogs here. Greg's got 2, and very proud of them. And they just turned a year old, so very excited in the next year or 2 to see what they can do. And
well, Jeff, we kind of went over it pretty quickly, but I want to make sure that we talk about it again, because I don't want people to miss it. So, Wildman made it to the final cast in the World Hunt. His son, and finished third. Freck made it to the final cast of the World Hunt. Twice. And then his grandson, Cooper, made it to the finals of the World Hunt.
Yes.
I just think about that. The father, the son, and a grandson. I mean, all making it, because it's pretty hard to get to the finals in the World Hunt. That's a pretty big deal to make it there. That's pretty rigorous. So, I mean, I don't know. That just sounds like a pretty interesting stat to me. I don't know if another dog's done that or not, or a family of dogs has done that, but that's a pretty good little stat. And then I know you mentioned Freck and Flame being double Hall of Famers out of him, and I just have to imagine that Cooper, with the trajectory he's on, is if he's not already destined for the Hall of Fame. I don't know how many wins he has. We'd have to maybe ask Kristen.
He just doubled up this year. He by the end of the year, when everything calculates in, he's double Hall of Fame right now today.
That, I don't know if that's impressive to anybody else, but that sounds pretty impressive to me.
Well, that's me. You've known me a long time, and I'm not out to, publicize or, try to and 99% of these breedings and stuff, like I said, Dad and I did it with friends or dogs we liked. We didn't breed off of some big name or whatever. We did it our way, back to the original story. And I'm pretty proud of what we've done, you know. And again, we talk about big wins. Flame was in the finals at the Nationals. She's been in the finals, and she did a lot of winning, or she wouldn't be double Hall of Fame. Seemed like the Brett never had a great run at the Nationals. Wildman did. Flame did. They always did well at the Nationals. Well, Wildman, I was blessed enough to do well at Nationals and World, Brett seems like he always clicked better at the World. They kind of traded places there, but it was still something great to have a dog in one or the other. Probably one of the biggest things, Sam, I want to say back in 16, I think, 2016, 17, somewhere around there, we was at the Nationals, and Flame was in the finals 4 at the Nationals in the Grand Champions. Well, a female out of Wildman, same cross, named Coco that I had. I think you may have run her in a hunt for me.
I sure did. I remember. I like Coco.
Coco was out of Wildman, same cross as Breckenham. Did a lot of winning with her. Well, I was handling her, and I was in the Final 4 in the Nationals, same day. And then we had a registered dog, which went back to the Bold Stroke Hoss and Tipper. Well, it was out of Tipper, actually, in the Final 4 in the registered. So that was a very proud day. I've got a dog going out on Sunday morning in the finals in Grands, got a dog going out, finals in the Champions, and got a dog going out as a 9-month-old pup in the registered. And we end up getting second, third, and fourth, but just being there. I mean, to have, out of our kennel, mine and Dad's kennels, to have a dog in every division in the finals was a pretty proud day.
I can understand why. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
it is. So we've got young dogs out of Freck today, and that are doing well. So what dogs should we be listening out for? Which one's going to take Freck's place? So if it kind of was Wildman and then Freck, and who's next? Do you think?
Well, I'm putting a lot. Cooper is getting retired this year. He'll be at the World, and he'll be at the McVeigh. Not probably, he will be there. And he may hit a few big hunts next year, but after next year, Cooper probably won't be in any more trials. But the next dog, I'm running a male out of Wildman right now, which is Grand Champion Station Mountain Outlaw Rowdy, and a Branco female straight from Canada. He's 3. We're getting ready to turn 3, or already 3. I will put I've been putting a lot of time in him this year and next year to see if he can become a Freck. You know what I'm saying? Before I start breeding him or whatever. And then I've got these dogs out of Freck. We got a real nice male doing a good job. I think you're going to hear about is Big Gangster is his name. I think you're going to see him win in the field and on the bench. He's got talents in both. And we've got a female that's going to be called Station Mountain Outlaw Manny. I got high hopes for her. And them two's just a year old. So, and for me to say I got high hopes for them at a year old, that's showing me what I want to see. A lot of foot, very good hunt, very honest mouth, and all they go. That's what I like. That's what we want. And we've got several young dogs, but right now them two is the two we're looking at, and this Rowdy Mill. And then I've got, the big dog named Stacy Mountain Outlaw Big Blue that's out of Diesel, which goes back to Tipper, that Kristen's been doing the winning with. And then the little mate, I finished in top 16 at the Nationals with her. They're doing really good too. They're 2 years old, going on 3. So, we've got a kennel full. And so we're really judging and doing a lot of evaluating ourselves right now.
Well, Jeff, you mentioned, and I'm glad you mentioned Diesel. So I failed to mention that not only do you have the number 1 current male and number 1 current female, you got other dogs on the list too, on that same list. So you've got, if I read it right, number 13 is Diesel on the male side,
which is Cooper's daddy.
Wow.
And Big Blue that's been winning a lot this year, and he was bred to Flame, and then he was bred to my Brandy female, which was the same cross as Flame and Fred, just different age. And that's where Blue and Dirty Black Coal, he's been doing some winning this year. Dalton Evans has got him down in South Carolina. He's a nice hound also out of Diesel. And so,
wow.
we're trickling it on down,
Well, let's flip to the bottom side of the pedigrees too. You also had the number 4 Red Wine and number 20, I think, was Rose. So tell us a little bit about those dogs too.
Well, Red Wine was out of was a granddaughter out of Shorty. She's about 12 years old now, and MJ, the dog up in Pennsylvania, Jake Humbler owns, and he's partners with. They've done some pretty big winning with her at the McVeigh, the Nationals, and then my Reba dog, which you run with Reba.
Oh yeah.
And Reba's a grand champ, dual grand, and I've kind of put her on the back burner. And it's not really fair to her, but she gets run, and she, of course, going to be gun hunted to death, but I'm probably going to breed her next year. But she's out of the Red Wine dog, and then you got Fancy, which Davis Hughes owns, which is Reba's little mate. And now you got the Sully dog that Davis Hughes owns, which looks just like Wild Man, other than he's got a bobtail. And he's one of my favorites out of Wild Man. He's really a nice hound. And so we've got them there. They're all in the mafia, as you want to call it. So I can always bring back to that blood. And in the future, we're definitely going to be using some of that. But that Sully dog, I think, could win, which I think could win big in a lot of big hunts. Davis works a lot. He's young in his career. He don't get to travel like I do, but he's definitely got the talent. And the sleeper is they also got a pup. We bred Fred to wine. And they had to do a C-section. Was only able to save one. He's a big black male. He's just a year old, and his name's Big Money because it costs so much money to get all the surgeries done. And I think the future's bright for him down the road. He reminds me a lot of Fred as his young age. He's long, got big lungs. I'm excited. Him and Sully both, I think, could be big winners. In time, if Davis and Brett gets the opportunity to trial very, very much, they could definitely win. And then we talk about Cooper a lot, but Cooper's little mate, which is out of Diesel and Flame, Miss Independent, she's won her share of big hunts. She's won our dad's first memorial runoff, over 100 and some dogs in. she won it. Davis won it with her. Cooper, he was right there too. Both littermates in the finals the first year, and then Big Blue in the finals this year, and Big Hunt, and but Brett won the Southern Classic last year with Miss Independent. So, Diesel's producing, and I'm begging this Brandy dog to come back in and eat. Because I had sold her, and when Flame passed, I went and bought her back so we could make that cross with the same blood again, and that's where Blue and Cole and these dogs come from,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think Indy gets enough credit. She's just kind of quietly there, but boy,
Yeah.
she won a lot of stuff. I've been really privileged to watch her in several of these hunts, and just pleasure hunting too. But she's
and
tough.
I definitely wanted to bring that out because she does. She's a bad Jose.
She is. She is. I mean, if you pull her, you better be ready. She's a tough little dog. I like her.
That's right. That's right. And I don't own her, but I don't want to draw her either.
Yeah. Well, tell us about Rose. Do you have anything out of her that goes back to her?
Yeah, Rose was special. Rose was out of my Whitey dog, which I won. If you look way back in the old days, Rose dominated on the show part. I won a lot of state shows with Rose, with Whitey. She was a big white 14.5-inch female, was out of Shorty, and very proud. And Rose was my pick out of that. She was a smaller dog. She was, 13.5-inch dog. I won the point series with her in 2016, the year after Wildman. So if you look at it, Wildman won in 15, Rose won in 16, Flame won in 17, Frick won in 18.
Wow.
So, it's a pretty good run. And then, I've got them goes all the way back to 2000. I mean, Tipper won in 2000, and, so. But anyway, Rose was hard hunting, quick on her feet. She moved a lot like Wildman and him, but she hunted a thicket just like Kipper did, but at a faster pace.
Mm-hmm.
And I won a lot with Rose. I was very proud of her, and she, my brother Jerry, he won a lot with Rose and Wildman and Kipper. He always says Kipper and Rose was his dogs. Actually, he's got the Hall of Fame coat for Kipper. Nice. He took it right out of my hands. But anyway, Rose was all heart. I felt like she was all heart. Kristen had a great run with Rose in 15. We almost had her and Wildman both in the finals. And so I made the cross with Wildman and Rose. Unfortunately, you only got to have one litter, but that's who Popcorn's out of.
Oh, okay.
Which, Popcorn's done very well. Mm-hmm. And, he's won a lot. He's still grand, and he's won a lot in the field also, And then Little Rose, that's who we just bred Cooper to. So we've doubled up on Wildman, and we've doubled up on the Bold Stroke. And because Rose was out of Hoss and Whitey, and which goes back to Shorty also. And then I just bred Little Rose's sister, Becky, she's a hunting beagle champion. She won the North Carolina State hunt 2 years ago, 2023. My first year back, I was hunting. And I just bred her to a male out of Frick. And it goes back to the 30-06 stuff I was telling you that I got out of Frick. His name is Demon. So we'll see what kind of pups we get. coming on down the line. That should be doubled up on Wildman too. It won't double the bold stroke, but it will the Wildman side,
Mm-hmm. Well, Jeff, it sounds like you're just keeping it going. You've had winners out of winners, bred to winners, producing winners. So I would think you've got just a lot of opportunity here with these pups. That you just got to believe one of them's going to rise up and take first place and make a name, or maybe there's more than one. Maybe there's several of them that rise up and hit this list in the future.
That's definitely what we're hoping for. And like I said, I just bred my beauty dog, which is a lawman and tipper, to Alan Newby's Big Mac dog, which, Max won a lot of winning. Mm-hmm. He's got one cast win more, and he'll be Hall of Fame.
Wow. So
I'm very excited I got 2 pups, and Alan's got 1. So we're excited to see what this cross is going to do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we put a lot of time into it, and just to say, just very proud and being blessed. And I bred Wildman to 10 different females. Mostly my females, mine and Dad's, that we brought, that we raised through the years. And I'm a 100% believer that the female usually puts more traits in the pups than the male. Mm-hmm. Even though I've got some big male names we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But I bred to great dogs. I bred to some of my best in my kennel, of course, to Wildman. And he has produced champions and grands out of every female he was bred to. Mm-hmm. Wow. Except the last breeding I bred about 1.5 years ago to a rabbit hunter. He's got 2 of them that hasn't never been in a trial. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I championed all these dogs. They came from other people, mm-hmm. just like you did. And, out of that litter that, you had Nellie out of, there's poor Jared Street Dog that's won and Dean's. And there is Brandon Jarrett, my nephew, River Dog, that's champion. That whole litter was almost championed.
Oh, yeah, that's a good litter. That was,
and that was just an outcross that I bred to a really good friend. Well, I bought the female and bred her, and it paid off. I actually bred her twice. She had champions out of the first litter also. And, so he had to throw something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I said, I was thinking about it today and yesterday. I was like, he had to throw something because out of all these different females, there was winners in every one of them. And some of these females have never went to a field trial. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jeff, the Outlaw story is an amazing story. And for folks listening, if you haven't heard the first 2 parts of it, it's hard to believe this, Jeff, because I went back and looked. But it was almost 2.5 years ago when we had like that second part of the interview, and it took a couple different interviews with you just to kind of get up to current events. We'd done a lot of the historical stuff, and but I'd encourage people to go back and listen to that first couple of parts, and just listen to all 3 of them back to back to back, because it's a heck of a story, and it's still being written. I mean, that's the beauty of all this, is this story's continuing right now, and looks like it's got a good chapter that you're writing right now in this book, of the Outlaw book. But as we kind of close up, because I want to be good with your time, as we kind of close this up, is there any advice you would give to people, or anything you would share with people that could help them as they're trying to put together winning programs like you have?
Well, I live off of what my dad taught me. And he, first and foremost, he did not believe in breeding papers. He didn't, or titles, that didn't mean nothing to him. What meant something to him was breeding good dogs to good dogs. And he said, you need to not just take chances and to breed anything that'll turn its tail. You need to make sure, you got a good female and you got a good male. They don't have to be perfect. Also, he wanted, wild man had weaknesses. Every dog does. Mm-hmm. Hopefully the female, or like I'm breeding Freck now, where Freck was so tight-mouthed. And, you want a female with maybe a little better nose to try to even that trait up. Don't breed Freck to a real tight female. You might get a pup that'll run all day and never say a word. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was Dad's advice. Or Hoss had a big nose, hard hunting, big nose dog. He gonna make you a rabbit. Well, you wanted to, the way we do it, our way, and the way he set the program up for me to follow, and I still am, is we bred him to tighter females. You know what I'm saying? To make the females puppies open faster, but not over open. You know what I'm saying? To be true. And the biggest thing, you can breed all you want, I think, a lot of times, is a lot of it falls on the training. When you get nice young dogs, you've got to hunt them with nice old dogs. Mm-hmm. That's going to be true, and that's going to teach them. And it takes so much stress off of you as a person, because they're following and they're doing what a dog that does it right. Mm-hmm. Because I think you can put young dogs in pressured situations and can be bad, and they'll pick up bad habits. That don't mean it was in their blood. I mean, I've had dogs and two litter mates be totally different, and I'd have to split them and run them different ways because, their traits was different.
Right.
And that's what Dad always said, to try to be consistent in the breeding and the winning. We want to breed good dogs to good dogs, and try not to breed two dogs with the same weaknesses. Find their strengths and breed to their strengths.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like good advice to me. Well, Jeff, as we finish up, is there anything else that you want to cover? Anything else you want to talk about?
That covers about it all. And okay. As I said from the beginning, I want to give my dad all this credit. He laid groundwork, and, I worked hard at it. And, of course, I wanted to take it to the next level. And luckily, he agreed finally to turn me loose, because back in the Shorty days and even early on with Hoss and stuff, we didn't breed hardly to anybody, just their own stuff. Mm-hmm. And I've opened it up a little more, and, I think that's where Tipper come to the top, Wild Man come to the top. These other people I've mentioned in these conversations, like breeding with Alan and breeding with Mark Overcash and some of these other guys has helped. And, I would also like to thank Ronnie and Thomas Brown up in Creston. Mm-hmm. They've got a pup direct out of Wild Man, that mower dog. He's been a winner. He won the point series also. They're breeding him, and I've seen some nice young dogs out of him. So it's carrying Wild Man's blood on down the road, and I appreciate all that stuff,
Very good. Well, Jeff, again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you catching us up on what's going on with the Outlaw Kennels. And if people are interested in getting pups or approaching you about breeding the Freck or one of your other dogs, do they just reach out to you directly? What's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, just reach out to me.
Okay.
Most of them's got my number. It's posted everywhere. So, and like I said, I don't breed a lot to the outside, but I breed to good friends and good people. If they bring and show me a good dog, any male I got in the kennel is available. But I want to see it. If I don't know it, I want to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I got you.
And I got to get you back down here and get one in your hands.
I hear you.
Get this stuff wrapped up and get down here and see me.
That sounds good. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, my friend. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to Buff in the Rough. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to be notified when new content is available. And please send comments and suggestions to buffintherough@gmail.com.